Okay, let's look at TEK 4.10b. It says I can calculate profit in a given situation. Before I go on explaining, I need you to go watch the video on fixed and variable expenses and then watch this video so it'll carry over and make sense. So let's get started. So what is profit? Profit is the extra money you make from selling something. How do you know what the extra money is? Well, first, whenever you sell something, you make it. Or you probably buy it and then you sell it again for a higher price. So you would buy the materials, so paintbrush, paints, canvas, little decorations, and a mini easel. Then you would add the cost and the expenses of all these things. So like that costs that much, whatever. You add it all up and you keep in mind how much it costs to buy the materials. Because if you spent $10 in buying the materials and then you sell it for $10, you didn't make any extra money. It was $0. So you want to always make sure whatever the cost is for selling, the amount you spent in buying the materials, you want to sell more than that. Then you make your product. After you make your product, you sell it for however much. Then you subtract this price from the amount that you spent in cost and expenses, and whatever left over is profit. So let's look at something that I made, and I'm actually going to try to sell it. This is a cute little easel with a canvas and a little gate on there with a background of a garden. I want to try to sell this and make a profit from it. So I'm going to tell you how much I spent on buying the materials, and we'll go from there. So I actually went to Michael's and got these materials. So here's the receipt, and I just took what I bought and put it on the board. So this little gate here, I actually bought from Hobby Lobby. It was $1.50. This is all without tax, by the way. I didn't include tax in this because that's a whole nother lesson, and that's not 4th grade level. But just know that, it costs me around this much. You can always round it up to the next dollar so you can have a better idea. The canvas, I actually bought it in a pack of 4. So what I did was I took the price of the 4 canvases, the 1 pack, and divided it by 4, and it came to 62 cents a canvas. The easel, again, was also in a pack of 4, so I just divided it by 4 and got 62 cents also. And so I added up my expenses. It's $2.74. With tax, let's just say around $3. But to be exact, without tax, $2.74. So what my next step is, I make the product, which I've done, and then I want to sell it for a higher price. If I sell it for exactly $2.74, or let's say even say $3, basically the money I put in to buy the materials, I'm getting back exact amount, and so I didn't make any money from making all this. In fact, you could call it a loss, not a gain, because I also used my paint. So that paint got used for this. I used my paintbrushes, I used my water, labor is involved in making this, so there was a loss if I sell it for, exactly or less than what it costs to make. So let's say I sell it for $10. Someone buys it for $10. So you want to subtract the amount you spent in the materials, and whatever's left over, this is your profit. So I did the subtraction. I got $7.26 as my profit. So there's an example of how you can figure out, calculate profit in a given situation. Okay, let's look at another thing that I've made, and I've actually sold this and made a profit from it, so this is life application right here. So it's a little easel with a canvas that says Procrasti Baking. The Art of Baking Cupcakes when you should be doing something else. So there is like a little 3D bowl, a whisk, a muffin tray, and cupcakes on there. So some of these I bought from Hobby Lobby and some I bought from Michaels. So the mini canvas was 62 cents. Remember, that's from a pack of 4. I had to divide the price by 4 because I want to know how much one canvas would cost, not 4. A mini easel is 62 cents. Mini bowl and whisk came in a pack. That was $2.47. The mini trays was $2.99. And then the cupcakes was $1.99. So your first step is add up all the expenses. So I added it all together. My expenses was $8.69 for the materials. So now my next step is to decide a price on how much I want to sell it. Never, ever, ever figure out a random price without looking at how much it costs to make. Sometimes, you look at something and you're like, oh, $10 seems good. And then when you calculate the cost, it's like, oh, wow, that was $8, almost $9. I made like $1 profit. So always calculate your expenses and then decide your price. So I want to make a good profit from this. So I want to resell this, or I want to sell this for $25. So it cost me $8.69 to make the materials. So I want to first make that money back, and then whatever's left over, that's going to be my profit. So I did the subtraction, and I got $16.31 as my profit. Now that's a good profit because if I sold it for, if I spent around $8 in materials, and I made around $16 in profit, I made double the money. So that's always a good way you can look at the comparison. Okay, so here's an example. There is an ornament, snowman ornament that you've made, and you're going to sell it for $15. Here is the expenses for the materials. I want you to calculate what would your profit be. Press pause, calculate it, and then press play. Okay, so the expenses was the ornament, the Google eyes, the orange paper to make the nose, the Sharpie to draw the mouth, and then the ribbon. All that cost $9.24 to make. So you want to obviously sell more than how much it costs to make. So let's say you sell it for $15. $15 minus the expenses equals $5.76 as your profit. Now, honestly speaking, that's not a whole lot of profit. So, you might think about in the future, when you're selling and doing these kind of things, calculate your expenses and make sure you are getting double the money you spent on as profit compared to what you spent in materials. So like if I spent around $9, I want to make around $18 in profit. I mean, that would be nice, or at least get $9 to $10 back in profit. Okay, let's go back and look at this example again. This gate easel that I made. So here is the cost to make it. But my question is, how much profit if I sold 4 of these? So I'd have to make 4 of these, so I'd have to buy the materials 4 times. And I sold each one at $10 a piece. How could we do that? I want you to press pause, think about what you could do, and then press play to hear the answer. So, since I'm selling 4 of them, I would have to take each one and times it by 4, because I'm making 4 of them, so I need 4 gates, I need 4 canvases, 4 easels, and then add these up, and that will be my expenses. Okay? Now, if I'm selling 4 at $10 each, if it's $10 each and I'm selling 4, that's $40. But that's not my profit. That's just how much I'll get in my hand, but then I have to take away how much money I spent in making it. So when I add up the expenses, it's $12.96. And so If I sell all 4, I will have $40, and now I got to take the $40 and subtract the expenses. So having done that, my profit is $28.04, which, honestly speaking, this took such a long time to make, just one, that I wouldn't want to sell it for $10 each. I would want to sell it for more. Okay, it's checkpoint time. We're going to go back to this one, the Procrasta Baking. This is the expenses to make it. I want to know how much profit if I sold 4 of these at $20 each. So press pause, figure it out, and then press play to get the answer. Okay, so first step is to add up all your expenses. So that comes to $8.69, but remember, I'm making 4 of these, not just one. So $8.69 times 4 equals $34.76. So that's my expenses. Now, if I sold 4 at $20 each, that's $80. I have to take the $80 that I made, subtract the amount of money I spent in expenses, and that's going to give me $45.24 profit, which, hey, that's pretty good. I made quite a bit of money. So I hope you have a good idea of calculating profit in a given situation. Go ahead and click on the next video if you want to learn something else.